I'm Johan Andersson. I'm the producer at Paradox Interactive. I'm responsible of the development of Hearts Iron III. Hearts Iron III is a deep grand strategy game that plays on a world map covering about 15,000 provinces. You control units, move them around, trying to fight and win the war for your faction, either the Axis, the Communists or the Allies. You also have control of the aspects of the game like politics, intelligence, diplomacy, production, technology, and many other details. Hearts Iron series is unique in its style because it's the only truly grand strategy game. It's the only one with depth that covers the entire world, where you play a country and control every aspect of the game, not just maneuvering troops, but you control diplomatics, production, technology, intelligence, internal politics, and of course warfare.
Why would you say that Hearts of Iron 3 is superior to Hearts of Iron 2?
One aspect is that it looks cooler, it plays cooler, and is cooler. Well, seriously, I'm kind of proud about our new unit system, where it has this unit hierarchy, where you can you don't have to give orders, as an example, to every single little division, but you can say you want to control at a higher level. If you're playing at an army group, you just give order to that army group, take this objective, then the AI will control the units below it for you. That works out absolutely great when you're playing the game right now, and it makes the game completely unique compared to our previous games. I think the major difference is that we tried to make it more interesting for the veteran players, so that they get more things to do, like more of details, like deeper logistics, more units, bigger maps, more options at every gameplay. And of course, we also want to make it easier accessible to new players, so that you can get easier into the play with quick starts and other things. I wanted to have the game more playable when you had a lot of units, because it was too much to handle at times, and I was thinking that this would be a cool idea. It was an idea I had a few years ago, me and Chris, our designer here, had been talking about it for years and years, and then we finally figured out it would be great in a Hearts Iron 3. And since we were adding more features and more provinces to handle and more detail on units, it was a must to make the game not micromanagement as well.
Will there be as many historical events as in the previous games?
Yes and no. All the historical events from Hearts Iron 2 are in the game. Some of them are events that comes no matter what. Some of them are what we call decisions, which means that you will actually see what you need to do as a player before you can do it. In the previous games, you never knew what you actually had to do to get an Anschluss triggered. Now you have to see that, okay, you have to destabilize the Austrians and make them more fascistic to get them to join Germany. We wanted to make it more obvious to the player what they need to do in the game, and also to make the player feel more historically into the game, not just being told that this happened. It should be more this happens because we are doing this.
Will the gameplay play out like a book each time, or will there be differences?
Most of the time there will be World War II. I think 99.99% of the time, unless you don't want to do it when you're Germany. But you will end up always saying Germany declare war to Poland, fight a war against Britain. You will most likely end up in a war against the Soviet Union between Germany and the Soviets. There will be conflicts with Japan and China, Japan and the Western powers over the Axis. Most likely Japanese attacks on the US, etc. But actually how the wars play out, that's up to you and up to the AI to actually be able to win the game. Sometimes Germany wins, sometimes Germany loses. Sometimes Japan does better than they did, sometimes they do worse. It's all up to the player.
Can you give any examples of new concepts that provide historical immersion?
Yeah, there's plenty of examples here. We've been trying to what we've learned in our recent games like Rome and EU3 and Nomina and so on is that immersion is everything. So what we've done is that to make sure that every tech for the major powers have basically unique names. We have different party names. You have, depending on which different country you play, you have different skins and different colors. There's even different music styles that are playing depending on which country types you're playing. It's all about creating the historical immersion so that you feel it's really, really different playing the Soviet Union compared to Germany.
Do you have any plans for expansion packs?
Well, that depends really. I mean, the game needs to sell, so we think it's worth money doing expansions. But usually, we do not plan to do any. We don't plan any content for expansion until about 5 to 6 months after release. We really need to look at what the customers would really want for an expansion. As an example, when we did Napoleon's Ambition for EU3, we pretty much took like every single feature that we added to that expansion was from what people requested on the forums.
We talked about your forum and your community. What features do you think that those gamers will like the most?
That's hard to tell. Either they will love our new combat system, which have these different frontages and different types of reinforcements or so, or they may be like real advanced strategy players that you know the old saying, amateurs study tactics, experts study logistics. I think our players will really, really love the logistics systems we have in our game. That is the most advanced and realistic and most fun logistic system in a game ever. As an example, logistics and supplies and fuel has a huge network over the game depending on the infrastructure you have, the needs of your units, depending if you're offensive. Resources are shifted around on the map depending on what you want and what you need. It's handled abstractly by the player, not really something he controls immediately by shipping it, but the game handles it for him depending on his needs, and this really has impacts on what type of offensives you can do in your game.
So Hearts of Iron 3, any changes in multiplayer?
Since we're running now on our new Clausewitz engine, since EU3, it has a completely new multiplayer engine, which is much more stable than the original Hearts of Iron 2, much more forgiving on which type of ports and what you need to do to be able to play it. It runs fully cooperational multiplayer, supports internet, LAN, or through our own new matchmaking server.
You mentioned that you were trying to make the game more accessible. Can you give a few examples more?
Some of the two major things. First of all, we're working hard on making a decent tutorial that explains the game. Secondly, we have something we call quick starts. The quick starts make so that you can just pick, there's 4 starts in the game where you can play like Germany and just worry about war and just conquer Poland, and then you have like quick starts for starting as USA and just worry about production or so on. Other things we've been working on is also to give AI control to various aspects. If you want to play and don't want to worry about production or intelligence, you can just let the AI handle them and you're just focusing on a smaller part of the game.
What do you personally feel makes Hearts of Iron 3 unique among strategy games?
It's the only true grand strategy game in World War II. Everything else is on a much lower level in complexity. It's also unique in that most of these games are making them to abstracted types like turn-based and so on, which you can't really do if you want to have a serious war game, because then you miss like one of the most key aspects, the word when, in a strategy game. It's also unique in that it's the only grand strategy game that actually takes into account things like politics, production, technology, diplomacy, logistics, intelligence, and so on.
What can you tell me about modding possibilities?
In Hearts-Iron 3, which runs on the Clausewitz engine, is even more customizable than what the Hearts-Iron modders are used to. Everything is basically run through text files that are completely customizable. The map is also created out of bitmaps, so a modder can basically do whatever he wants. Another key aspect is that most of the AI is also written in Lua, so AI modders can code their own AI. A few things that people complain about a lot in Hearts-Iron 2 and Hearts-Iron 1 was that there was a lot of work to deploy new troops after you built them. Now you have an option of when you build something to have it auto-deployed, and the AI will then deploy it when it thinks it's best. You also have the option to see what every theater in your country is needing in troops, and then you can just click build, and the units will be built according to what that theater will need, and then that theater will automatically get those troops assigned to those where it's needed on the map. Hearts-Iron 3 will be released in August this year. We also plan to have a demo out in, I don't know exactly when, but it should be about the release date so you can actually try the game. We also hope that you will really love Hearts-Iron 3 because we love it ourselves at the team.